From the center of the galaxy, this is the ForceCenter podcast feed show. What are we now? Hey, yeah, we're a show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm still here. I'm Ken Napzok.
And I'm Jen Landa.
This is Ken and Jen in the morning, or the afternoon, or the evening, whenever you're listening to us. Joseph is out. He is in the final stretch of finishing his film, Dead Media, and we thought he'd be back. He thought he'd be back, but it just kind of was a smarter idea for him to sit out another week. So, Jen, we've got the helm for some Star Wars news today. We're going to dive in deep. We're going to go deep into a offhanded comment from Oscar Isaac in a bit.
I feel like things are going to go off the rails. Because when Joseph's not here, I let loose.
Here we go. Before we dive in, we do want to remind you that today's show is brought to you by our very own merch shop. That's right. Check out our merch shop on Fourth Wall. Pick up a t-shirt, pick up a pint glass, a coaster, other things there. Represent ForceCenter out in the galaxy. New items recently added, more on the way. I'm going to work on some of those, and we even got some requests I'm going to try to make happen there. Head on over to forcecenter-shop.fourthwall.com. forcecenter-shop.fourthwall.com. There you go. Check out our merch shop there. But Jen, over on the YouTube side, we are approaching, we'll say slowly, but we're approaching our next goal on YouTube.
Yeah. Where are we, by the way? Are we close? Are we getting there?
We're at 10,200-ish. We're approaching the 200, which again, slow growth, but growth.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I think that's really great. Our next goal is 10,500 subscribers on YouTube. It really does help the show. Share us with your friends, your family. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us in the car, on your podcast. Take us with you. Follow us on Blue Sky, TikTok, however you consume. But yeah, that's our goal. And what are we going to do? Are we going to do anything?
We still got the Star Wars Ranked Special Edition tied to that. We'll pick an old episode. But, you know, I think, too, maybe we can work on something else, too, as well. Add on to that goal where some kind of, you know, we do a lot of live streams, so maybe that's not as special. But maybe we'll figure out, you know, I'm not suggest like a Star Wars Power Hour where we take shots every 5 minutes, Jen. I don't think that's something that is smart, but we'll put some razzle. We'll put some dazzle out there on that. And as Jen said, follow us on TikTok, ForceCenter Show over on TikTok, if that is how you prefer to get your shorts and your clips. Having a lot of fun putting those over there. We're putting them on here on YouTube if you're watching, putting them on Instagram, putting them on TikTok. So whatever you prefer, it's there. But a lot of fun. And appreciate longtime fans if you see it. Even though you might have listened to the episode, you might have watched the episode, if you share it, you interact with it, you leave a comment, all those things, we are really just kind of doing our best to spread the word here as we approach our 12th year of broadcasting. So old dogs, new tricks, Jen. Old dogs.
Wow. 12th year of our marriage. It's a podcast. What do we get? Paper? Like each year is really weird.
Yeah.
Anticlimactic.
Right. Yeah. No. We get some sort of nugget is what we get. Before we dive into news, chicken nugget. Oh, chicken nuggies. We are gonna get into news before we'll catch up with a little bit of life adventures. It's been a hot time, summer in the city. My squirrels in the backyard are just absolutely toasted. They're just toasted, Jen. As was I. I even put a fan out in the backyard, a little portable fan. I plugged it in. I have an outside outlet, and the squirrels didn't quite know what to do with it, but a couple figured out there's some kind of nice breeze from that area, and so they kind of hung out there. And I'm doing my part like a Jedi to help the world around me.
I loved your squirrel video on Instagram. I mean, I can relate. Like the squirrels just, laying on the ground, trying to find any place that's cool, shade. And then when they're approaching the little fan that you have set up, it's really, really cute. I love that you're tending to them.
We're a symbiotic circle. All right. I think I'm boss nass in the scenario, and the squirrels are the Nubians, but it's been fun. I want to say I finished Skeleton Crew on my rewatch.
Ooh.
Of course, we reviewed the show, and when we review shows, we usually watch the episodes at least 2 times, sometimes 3 times before we pop on the podcast. So I've seen the episode several times, but this was like my first time kind of revisiting the show since its run. And while I didn't sit down and watch, I had it on in my garage gym. Man, so much fun. I really do believe that Jod Denalwood for me is like a top 10 Star Wars character. Just watching Jude Law work through everything that character's going through and all the thoughts and the glint of hope, the glint of sometimes evil, that all of it there. I just love watching him work. Love that show. And I've been saying on and off air about how much I just think the performances are on par with anything else in Star Wars because of what it's trying to accomplish. Andor is Andor. Andor is very special in its own way. But I think some of the acting is just so amazingly strong in this series. With different kind of vibes. And when the series ended, Jen, I think I don't love, even though we do Star Wars ranked, I don't love serious rankings. It's a pathway to a fight in fandoms. But for me, this might be my favorite Disney era Star Wars show. I think I've come to that determination.
Yeah, it's pretty flawless. From acting, story, adventure, accessible to all different types of fans. And it's kind of wild that it was, in my opinion, it was a success. And to know that I don't know if we'll ever see these characters again. I hope that we will. Right. But I don't know where they would appear. Movie, a book. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, and I hate to have that reaction where I go, book, because Star Wars Publishing has just been wonderful for so many years and does so many powerful and important things with characters. So I don't want to sound like I'm like, book, but it's the performances. It's these actors. I do want to see them again. And yeah, movie somewhere, Skeleton Crew season 2, even if they get that, it'd be entirely different because the kids would, who knows, they'll be married with kids soon, like we got over in Stranger Things. And Ryan Kira Armstrong going on to Buffy now, so it'd just be a different vibe. But if they show up in other places, at least give me Neil in a bath one more time in a movie.
Well, Brian Ward's been putting Neil in all sorts of different Star Wars places, and quite frankly, it's making me realize that Neil can fit in anywhere in Star Wars.
He really can.
Yeah.
He really can. And I think that's the scene I want in a movie. Where's General Neil? He's in his bath, sir. Stir him. No one stirs him in the bath.
And people who haven't watched Skeleton Crew are like, what? What is that? But I think it could happen. I don't think we haven't seen the last of Neil yet. I hope not.
I hope not. I'm with you on that there. That's my adventures. Any Star Wars adventures or life adventures for you?
No Star Wars adventures. I went to Alamo Draft House. I rarely see movies, but we did go, my family, my kids and I, and their friends, to the K-pop Demon Hunters sing-along. It was a blast. It was a blast. Have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters yet?
I have not. Everyone in my life has, and I trust every single one of them. Every single one of them. I'm like, this, I'm glad you're having all this enjoyment of it. It's nothing against the K-pop. It's nothing against the animation. Nothing. I just look at that and think, well, there's probably another doc on the Dallas Cowboys that I want to watch. I'm going to give that a go. It's just the life I lead.
I totally get it. And I had no interest in watching it until I could hear my kids watching it over and over again. And finally I was like, what is this thing? And after that point, I loved it. We listened to the music. It was a lot of fun to sing along with. And I was like, well, why couldn't Star Wars do something like this? Will we ever get a Star Wars musical? No. Maybe Ryan Gosling might have a little song.
It's possible. Look, it's possible. I'm not saying... Look, as someone who... And I'm not joking. As someone who watches his performance at the Oscars of I'm Just Ken weekly, like it's in my YouTube rotation weekly. I'll just put it on to feel good. I love the performance. I get to see my name on screen, that I'm Knuff. And I just absolutely love it. So while I don't want a Star Wars musical, Jen, what you're pitching, I'm very open to.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, put the Star Wars Holiday Special at the Alamo Draft Houses. And we can all sing along with B. Arthur and Carrie Fisher at the end.
Okay.
There's the sing-along.
I could be on board for that. Now, one other follow-up. This, apologize, Jen. This might be a little personal here. I don't want to feel like I'm encroaching onto your parental skills there, your parenting skills. You just let your kids watch something and then went in later, unlike when you and I grew up, which the K-pop Demon Hunters would have been put up in front of the church and analyzed. Like this is great. I'm encouraging this.
Yeah, just the demon. Oh, I would have never been able to watch that. But it speaks to number one, that's why I was so mesmerized in the movie theater. I'm like, this was a Netflix movie, right? But it was so cinematic. It's so unique seeing these female characters being weird and silly and eating,
Right.
but also being badass and pop stars. Like it just was really, really unique. And something doesn't have to be an IP to be a success. It really just has to have a lot of passion and wanting to tell something personal, a personal story, and
Yeah.
drawing from the creator's heritage and things that she had growing up. It's fantastic. I want to see more of that kind of stuff.
I love it. So come to ForceCenter for the Star Wars. Stay for the satanic panic talk of the 1980s. As someone who had to hide the G.I. Joe ship called the Devilfish from my parents, because I had to hide that so no one could see that I had the Devilfish.
No.
Oh, the 80s.
Oh,
the 80s. Wild time, kids. Let's get into some Star Wars news. Like I said up top, it's an offhand comment that we're going to have fun and acknowledge that we are just simply pulling this out to make it a story, which is both fun and maybe annoying in the bigger picture, but we got to do it. All right. Like I said, let's get real. This is a tiny quote. Let's make it into something more, Jeb. I think it's also fun to do. Oscar Isaac, remember him, Jen? You know Oscar Isaac, right? You know good old Oscar.
Oh yes, big fan.
Big fan. Poe Dameron, he was Poe Dameron in Star Wars, episodes 7, 8, and 9, and also Star Wars Resistance. He said this past week he was speaking with fine folks at Variety, promoting the Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein picture that's coming out, right? Right?
Okay. Yep.
And Guillermo's like, hey, it's all practical. And I believe, of all the people in the world who say, oh, it's practical, Guillermo's the one I actually believe at this point. So they're promoting it. And I want to make sure everyone goes sees that film if you want. So that's why they're out there talking about it. But Oscar Isaac said this past week that he'd be open to a return to Star Wars. More specifically, he said, yeah, I'd be a Star Wars again if there was something good to do with that. And Jen, he didn't even really say that in the interview. I mean, he did, but they put it in parentheses in the article and said, oh, we also kind of asked him this, and he joked around and quoted Ralph Wiggum essentially from The Simpsons with, I'm a Star Wars. Like it's not even in the article. It's kind of around the article.
Right. Context is key.
He didn't come out and say, official statement for the officers of Oscar Isaac, I'm open to a return to Star Wars. But Oscar has previously been, I'll say, ambivalent at best about returning to Star Wars in the role of Poe Dameron. He once said he'd do it if he needed a new house, which sounds, I know on the surface, if you just out of context, that sounds like, oh, wow, what are you rubbing in your money in our faces? He's not. He's just like, I'm not too interested, but hey, money's nice is how I take that there. So this is a positive step forward. Oscar has been very, I think, polite and professional about Star Wars. I think he does love the character of Poe Dameron. I think he absolutely does love his time in those films. But I think the hoopla around it, I think the desire to maybe see Finn and Poe in a relationship and have Disney rebuff that, I think a lot of those things kind of soured him on the process. But to return to Marvel and the Disney family with Moon Knight, or I should say return to Disney family with Marvel's Moon Knight, strike that, flip that, reverse it, as Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka would say. But Jen, Ken and Jen of the morning, let's break this down. What does this mean, Jen?
Well, let's say this. Time heals old wounds. I was laughing because I'm like, yeah, of course. Now he's more open to it. When they were asking him after the Rise of Skywalker, or even leading up to it, like, are you going to continue to do this? He's like, I am giving birth to my baby. Don't ask me if I'm going to have another baby and I haven't had the baby yet. Or the baby is like a newborn and people, I kid you not, will be like, when are you going to have a second one? And it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm literally healing. Please give me space. And then there is something weird that happens, and a couple
Yeah.
years later, you kind of forget everything that you went through, and you're like,
Mm.
"Yeah, I'll do that again to my body," and sometimes you do, right? And I kind of
Yeah.
feel like that's what's going on here with Oscar Isaac, is that he gave birth to a Star Wars baby, and now he's open to having another one.
I'm just picturing a little Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. That look, this has been documented before. Daisy Ridley, same thing. The end of
Mhm.
9. You want to do more? Hell no. Like, no, I put my blood on the tracks. We're on. And then now here we got a situation where we are getting a Ray film eventually. And I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on that, but it will be there. And we have more on a Ray story in our news headline roundup. John Boyega has had, I think, the most public kind of like, hey, there was a lot of problems, but it wasn't necessarily about Star Wars or being in the
Mhm.
films. He's had some things, maybe like his character do different things, but there was obviously a lot of bigger things around his words on Star Wars. And I think even now there's yeah. You know, we've talked, we've cleared the air a little bit. I'd be open to this. So, this is, like I said, Jen, it's a positive step forward. And it's kind of all the analysis I can provide.
Yeah, I really wanted to watch the interview with him and
Mm,
Jacob Elordi that was on that Variety. I don't know, popped up, and I was like, oh, let me
sure.
watch them just to kind of see the vibe. Like, what is kind of his state of mind right now as an actor?
Mm,
And he just seemed really relaxed, in a good place. I'm sure he's always in a good place because he's Oscar Isaac. But
that's
just
right.
talking about like the craft of being a part of this Frankenstein project and being on these elaborate sets and working with Guillermo del Toro and like figuring out the character. And it's been like two years or something, or 3 years that they were working on this together. And
Mm,
I think that he just like he's picking and choosing what he wants to work on now. And so if a Star Wars came, he would
mm,
do it. But I really
yeah.
think it's because, like, I think we forget, when you sign on to do a Star Wars movie, you're going on this big budget film. It's a lot of pressure. It might be a lot of stunts. It's just very time consuming. You really cannot do any other project. And then you have to go back and do the press round, which is just like,
Yes.
that's exhausting and grueling, and you're flying all over the world and doing that. And it
Hmm.
sounds very, very glamorous. And, it is to some extent, but it's
Sure.
also tiring. And he strikes me as a person who wants to be challenged creatively,
Hmm.
who is an artist, right?
Yeah.
And that other stuff, the press stuff and whatever, and the talk shows, that's just kind of, it goes along with it. But really what he loves is to be on that set, crafting these performances and really stretching himself. So yeah, I feel like he's probably got maybe some time. I don't know. He sounded really busy with
So,
other projects that he has going on.
yeah, sounds busy. This is a guy that, yeah, he's absolutely an artist, and also probably more than anything in life, just wants a slice of Brooklyn pizza and to sit with his family watching the Washington football team that they love so much. Like, I think he's a simple man who also has a strong patch of artistic integrity, and it's not to say anything about 7 8 9 not having that. Again, opinions vary, but it is a machine. And when you're plugged into
Mhm.
that machine, some of that artistic integrity that you love has to kind of go out the window while you're talking about it and you're getting questions about it. And fools like me wondering, will Poe Dameron come back? Click on my video to find out. Like, yeah, that's what we're doing here today. We're having fun with it. We're Star Wars fans. We love this character. I love him in Star Wars. You love him in Star Wars. So there should be some excitement for him saying this. But yeah, I don't hold it against any actor or director or producer, anyone involved in these big machine projects when they get that kind of like, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe no.
Right. Right. Look at Ewan McGregor. 4 years he was asked if he would ever come back, and he
Right.
eventually did. They all find their way back to their Star Wars home.
Yeah. We should also do a story on him going to cons and kind of teasing things that might be coming up in inappropriate ways, meaning you're breaking the rules. All right. So here's one thing, though. We talk about Oscar Isaac, Jen, being a great performer, a true artist, as most actors are. I can't think of an example of someone who's just out there, doing it for money and has no artistic integrity. We all pursue arts for bigger reasons than the pocketbooks. But I sometimes hear stuff like this from him or people like him in Star Wars, or even some of the other things, IPs that we love. And I have this wild thought, Jen. Do a lot of these performers who've been like, I don't know, I don't want to return to Star Wars, or even those that have been like, I want nothing to do with Star Wars. I haven't been in there yet. I don't want to be in there at all. Do they see a show like Andor, which is an actors kind of show, which is not a slight against anything else? I love Skeleton Crew. I love my wonky, wonderful, weird Book of Boba Fett show. I love all that stuff. But it, just like I'm in the comedy world, there's the comic, the one that's maybe not, the big flashy over the top comic, but all the comics stay in the room to watch them. Andor has a lot of mass appeal. It's got a lot of good press. It's got some nominations. Yes. But I think it's causing a lot of people, and I'll even guess, I'm going to put this wild thought out there, even people like Oscar Isaac looking at it and going, well, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
You're an actor. Have you ever looked at something and been like, well, wait a minute, what? I had to do this. Can I do that now?
Yeah. It's an old flame. You're like, oh, actually, they're looking pretty good. They've been taking care of themselves, eating right. And you're just like, okay, all right, I see you. So for him, you have this twofold, I think. I think you have the prestige of Andor, seeing actors on that set, great writers and directors making top-notch television. And then on the flip side, you now have A-list star Ryan Gosling starring in a Star Wars movie. And I feel like the Star Wars brand is on it, not to say that it was ever on the decline, because it's always been on the up for us. But I do think like Star Wars is looking extra shiny right now. There's different ways that he could be plugged in. I mean, sure, could he do a Poe Dameron gritty type of thing? I don't know. That'd be really fascinating. He'd be the person to do it because he can show all these different colors in his acting. He could easily have fit in Andor, although time-wise it wouldn't make sense, obviously. But,
No. But yeah, absolutely agree with you. He'd be perfect for something like that. And I want to say, 7, 8, 9 have some of my favorite acting performances in Star Wars. I think overall the acting in 7, 8, 9 is better than the first two trilogies. That's maybe a hot take I have. I don't know if it's too hot. Maybe a warm take. I just think across the board, everyone involved put some of the great performances out there. But there's also some very Star Wars-y moments that don't translate to audiences outside of the Star Wars bubble. And I think Oscar Isaac has some of those moments that, I know he has a good sense of humor about the stuff, but, somehow Palpatine returns, which, as we've broken down here, is a line that I think got misunderstood. It's actually, it's more about the frustration and the exasperation, not the details. Poe Dameron wasn't going to be the one to explain it to you. He's just like saying, holy bleep, he's back. That was the line, but it got memed out. And guess what? It's funny. Meme it out. There's some of those moments in the cockpit later on that I think are somewhat delightfully over the top, depending on your point of view. But I'm not saying he has an ego where he's like, how did I get? That's what I got pinned with. I'm this great performer, man. I'm inside the Will Davis guy. I'm Frankenstein. And then you look at Andor, and like I said, it is an actor show, and they're chewing up scenery. And I sometimes wonder if you're going to see more of performers, again, even the people who haven't touched Star Wars going, I'd like to do that. Now, whether or not there's going to be that show again, Jen, is something we've talked about, budget-wise, streaming-wise, everything. We don't know if an Andor exists. But I have this wild thought that show inspires a lot of people to come back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that just shows that if you are the type of person that wants to be more grounded, work with the best talent, the best creators, yeah, you could absolutely join a Star Wars show. Very different than I think what people had, from The Mandalorian, which is very fun, swashbuckling adventure, right? But it's much more stylized, Star Wars stylized, that I think some actors may be like, I don't really fit in that world to be talking with a blurg or whatever.
Yeah. I'll call it an audible here at the line of scrimmage, Jen. Omaha. But like, You got Katie Sackhoff last week on her own show saying that being Bo-Katan in live action kind of effed her up for a little bit.
Oh, why?
You know, no, Katie, I love Katie. Like, I got her point. She was like, it wasn't anything bad against Mandalorian, but she was like, I had trouble playing that character. I had trouble getting into the mind of that character. It went against a lot of my acting instincts. And
Mm,
she kind of felt lost and cut adrift a little bit. My words, not hers. And then she also couldn't get booked for 3 years. It hasn't really been booked for 3 years. She's changed her management team. She's got a new acting coach. That role kind of just effed her up. And I think that some of it has to do with the house style,
yeah.
and how it's presented. It's a little bit different. And so I'm not putting words in Katie's mouth, because if I did, she'd reach over and give me a dragon slap. Old Schmoes reference for those who know. But like, again, you look at Andor and it's just entirely different. You look at Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew is entirely different than some of the other styles. Not bad performances, but just the styles. The house style is a little bit different than some of the other shows. So I just wonder if something like that's kind of what I'm talking about too, and what you're kind of talking about. Star Wars genre is I don't say genre is bad, but it's like, that's all I'm trying to say. But like, sometimes you're playing, it's a different style. End of sentence, I guess. Different style.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges is when you are playing such a well-known character. So for Katie Sackhoff and Bo-Katan, we know the character in animation. And
Hmm.
I think everyone was kind of wondering, how is that going to translate to live action? And I think her first couple episodes, she was trying to do the voice, but when you're acting for voice acting, it's different. You're doing things
Totally
differently
different.
than you would on set in person showing your face. And so it's like having to marry two performances. That's a lot. That's really
Hmm.
challenging. And I could see for Oscar Isaac, like he's presented this character of Poe. Poe has gone on in books and comics and whatever, right? It becomes bigger than him. And so then
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
do you
Hmm.
then take it back to making it to what he was? How do you make the character have an arc? How do you connect
Yeah.
all those threads to make it grounded and truthful? That's
Yeah.
it's really challenging. I don't know. I mean, he could do it. I know he could do it. And Katie
No,
did
you
it. In
did.
my opinion, I thought her performance ended up being great. When I could tell she was finding it, and in my opinion, she found
Yeah.
it. But
I absolutely, yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Some of my favorite stuff in Mandalorian season 3 is her work and her moments. But
mhm.
yeah, when she first showed up, I remember, even in my own house, my partner at the time was like, "What is she doing? Like,
Mm.
what is this?" And I was like, "Well, it's an animated character that she voiced." Yeah, but what is she doing? So I got the comments, and getting into what we're talking about with Oscar. I'm just putting this out there. No one has said. And this isn't about Andor being the best version of Star Wars. It's goddamn good. It's one of the best
Mhm.
things ever, for a reason. It's popular for a reason. It's nominated for a reason. This isn't an apple orange, or this isn't a war that I'm using Andor to shellac the rest of Star Wars. I'm just saying it is an actor's show.
Mhm.
And I think you might see more performances in line with Andor than a Mandalorian going forward. Once we're past maybe Mandalorian and Grogu. But that'll be curious to see on the big screen too if they change anything.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see if they take the formula of Andor and try and do another TV series like it. I don't know how you would do it. I really don't. Like who would have that type of
Yeah.
voice unless you get Bo Willimon again
Yeah.
or
Well, he's you
he's
know,
busy.
he's busy. Also busy working on Big Jim Mangold's Star Wars picture, if that
That's
ever's going to
right.
come to light.
All right.
Well, that translates or transitions, I should say, into our final little section of the story, Jed. And see, we've done a great job stretching this out. This little side comment that if Oscar Isaac was watching this podcast right now, I'd be like, guys, I just was quoting Ralph Wiggum. I was
Yeah.
just quoting Ralph Wiggum. Um, Let's pitch Poe's return. Where would we want to take the character Poe Dameron? How would we want to take him forward? You're talking about a show we've joked before. I think we've all kind of had a version of, Poe Dameron in the New Republic as a general, as maybe a burgeoning politician trying to reestablish a new system of government in this post Rise of Skywalker world. Like, I think you could do that and throw in some pew 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 every now and then, and you'd have a good series. But Jen, how would you bring Poe back?
Yeah, I would like to see him in a mentor type of role. I think it would be really fun to see him training, new pilots, maybe having like one trainee in particular, and they have an interesting dynamic going on, kind of like Big Brother Not actually,
Hmm.
not unlike Obi-Wan and Anakin, but have it turn out in a better way, let's say.
Yeah.
I think that could be interesting. I really like his cockpit acting, which sounds
Yeah.
weird, but every time he
No.
was in the cockpit, it felt thrilling. One of my
Hmm.
favorite moments, I think, is in The Last Jedi, is where he's like doing this turn and he like
Mm.
hits the side of his ship. I love that. That's really
Yeah.
hard to do.
And it's hard to do. Cockpit acting, saying it carefully,
Yes.
is absolutely hard. And look, I think in Rise of Skywalker, he has some moments, like I said, are wonderfully over the top. Like, yeah, who's that flyer? Babu Frick and Zori Bliss show up, and I think some of that stuff kind of got memed out. But I think all through the series, he's spectacular. Him in Force Awakens inside that X-wing is wonderful, and I think him and Hermione Corfield as Tali Lintra do some of the
Oh.
best acting inside of those ships in the series. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's a thing, man. It's a thing.
Yeah. So I want to
Okay.
see that. Bring
All
that
right.
as back as cockpit acting. Otherwise, oh boy. Oh boy. Don't snippet that out.
Otherwise, yeah. That's okay. I slipped up last week with a Young Guns reference. Supposed to say crockery. Yeah, I love what you're doing. I think it was our dear friends, Alex and Molly, the number one source for turtle content on Instagram. Star Wars Explained to Molly Damon over there. They were talking about this past weekend. And, you got Star Wars Starfighter. Seems to be wide open in terms of
Mm.
casting. It's in the right timeline. And,
Hmm.
could there be a reason to have General Poe Dameron, who I think Molly had the idea. I mean, I don't know if it was hers, but I'm going to give her credit anyways, whether it was Alex or not. But saying, hey, he's pushing pencils in a job and wants to get back out there. And then you got, Ryan Gosling. I think daydreaming of Oscar Isaac and Ryan Gosling going toe to toe, even though they're on the same side, but going toe to toe, bantering in the Star Wars galaxy, it's kind of tasty. I kind of like that idea.
I love that idea. I love it. Two megastars, Ryan Gosling, Oscar Isaac. That'd be great.
Be
Would
fun.
make me happy.
So there you go. So that's your idea, mentor role. That's good. I still like the idea of the gritty series of Poe Dameron, General Poe Dameron, trying to reestablish the New Republic, but also I think him showing up somewhere else. And yeah, we're all looking towards the new Jedi Order film, and does it suddenly become a de facto 10? We're a long way off from that, so I'm not worried about that. But I'm glad for one that Oscar Isaac is open to making more money in Star Wars.
That's right. That's right.
All right, we've got now a little bit of a news roundup, headlines that are out there that we're not going to do too much of a deep dive in. Speaking of Ray, there's a new Ray story coming out by Cavan Scott. It is a audio book only. It's coming out October 9th, called Star Wars: The Jaws of Jakku. Ray, set after The Last Jedi, between 8 and 9. Ray goes back to Jakku, kind of dealing with some stuff of her past, meets maybe a young girl on a mission there. It is a Audible original. They've been doing these. I'll stay up top. A lot of people might have, some issue or umbrage taken with these being exclusive to just Amazon's Audible for a lot of various reasons. Some of those were voiced wonderfully and thoughtfully in our ForceCenter Discord this week. So shout out to listeners like Amaranth who raised some good concerns about this, beyond just even the corporation angle of it that we might not be happy with, just some of the accessibility to these stories. So there's that out there too. But Jen, just in general, celebrating the story, the character of Rey in a new story. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I actually had to go and look because I was thinking, oh well, surely there's going to be a hard copy of
Mm,
this because the book is it's like 3 hours and something minutes, right? There's no hard copy. It is only an Audible, like you said, it's only available
mm,
on Audible. It's only available as an audio. And I was kind of like, why are they doing that? Who is this for? And then
yeah.
I realized, well, you know what? This is actually a great way for kids or young people or anybody really who maybe has a difficult time like with ADHD and they are having a hard time like reading
Mm,
because get distracted. You could maybe enjoy it more if you listen to it as an audiobook, or if you have
mm,
dyslexia. I can see how this could be really, really helpful and a way to enjoy a Star Wars story. But yeah, I'll have to look at some of the criticism around it because
yeah.
We want it to be available to everyone. That would be ideal.
Yeah. And look, we're in this modern age. I think eventually we're all going to be owned by just three companies, maybe even just two, the way we're going. So it is what it is. There's some things that are just so exclusive, and head over to get your Burger King Plus card and get an exclusive, Finn story when you order a Whopper. Like that's the kind of stuff that we seem to have going on sometimes. This is a little bigger than that. So I understand. I mean, hell, look, I'm a big Fortnite player, but having part of the Star Wars story be in a Fortnite reveal because they had some extra audio from Palpatine, like I understand the jokes and barbs thrown at that. But that aside, just hearing Cavan Scott talking about how much he really just loves his character of Rey, and she's an important character to him. She's an important character to us here at Force Center, and will continue to be. And I'm just excited that we're all looking forward to a movie. We're all looking forward to Daisy Ridley stepping back into the role. But I love these new characters becoming classics and getting more stories.
Absolutely. Yeah, put it on, draw, go for a walk. Sounds like a lot of fun.
There you go. I love this idyllic, relaxing life that you're painting that perhaps none of us have right now, Jen, but there's always hope.
I was saying for kids. That's why they have nothing but time, right? Okay. So it's like, no, not me.
Look, I have no time. There's so many squirrels to feed. All right. Next up here, we got the Star Wars Visions Volume 3 poster and art revealed. This is also coming our way in October, right? I believe for the Star Wars Visions Volume 3. We're all looking forward to here. Yes, October 29th. New post revealed. Got all the characters on there. I have not taken a deep dive into what we are getting, but as always, it looks wonderful and highly artistic and creative and imaginative. Fun poster. Jen, your thoughts on this?
There are two characters that I'm already obsessed with. Number one, there's a bear character that has like this round Winnie the Pooh like belly, but on the belly, it looks like BB-8's like kind of markings. But the bear is also wearing a hood that's kind of evocative of like, I don't know, like Luke or almost Jedi-like. Yeah. So I'm like, what is going on with this bear? The BB-8 bear. I love it. That's intriguing to me. Did you see the bear?
I did. A Jedi droid Ewok bear?
Right. What is it?
Pooh Bear with a lightsaber? I don't know.
I'm excited. I don't know. That's one. Oh, sorry.
That's
go ahead.
One. Okay. No. Continue, please.
Okay. My second one is there's a female character and she's slightly turned and she looks very reminiscent of the character Chihiro from Spirited Away, which is one of my favorite Hayao Miyazaki films. If you've seen it, you'll see this character on the poster. She's wearing like a red kind of tunic. So that got me very excited. Very excited. If maybe there might be a combo of Spirited Away and Star Wars. I don't know. Could it be? But it all just feels very fresh and exciting.
Yeah. Well, look, that's one of the big appeals to the Vision series. There is this great chance to kind of have a bunch of creators give back to Star Wars in a way. Not that they need to, but it's out of respect for what came before and what influences them. And Star Wars' influences go beyond Star Wars. And so the first two volumes of Visions were wonderful. I don't do a lot of rewatches of them. I always admit that. But I just love them there. I'm moved by the stories and what you're talking about of just, wow, here's just kind of imagination exploded all over the screen in a way that we're not used to in Star Wars sometimes. That's part of the fun.
I really, really hope, and I've been saying this since they first came out, I hope that they could take one of them and make it into a full-fledged series or a Disney Plus movie. And I know that there's one in this bunch, right? Is it Black?
Yeah. And don't they have they do have something here coming our way, right? Isn't there a series maybe? Yeah, I think.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, see, everyone in chat on watching this video later can yell at us, but I do believe there is something on the way.
I hope so, because I just feel like I fall in love with these characters and then they're gone.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Yeah. I'm just so that no one needs to yell too loudly. At Star Wars Celebration Japan, first look and a spinoff was announced. So there you go, Jen. So
answered.
Excited. There you go.
Yay.
and answered.
Finally.
Finally, indeed. Final story. Mark Hamill. We love Uncle Mark.
Yeah.
And he goes out there and he says a lot of fun things sometimes, and he loves getting deep into the woods of Star Wars lore on podcasts. But this one was kind of interesting. He was out there and he was talking about A New Hope, filming it, and then things that I think we knew that they had shot some scenes with the character as Luke Starkiller, as in I'm Luke Starkiller, I'm here to rescue you. And then they were like, hey, you gotta redo that. Why? Well, we changed it to Skywalker. And Mark Hamill, in a way only Mark Hamill can, was kind of like, nah, that's not as good. So I love kind of dredging up something from the summer of 77, Jen, or even 76, 75 when they were making this film. Do we agree with Mark Hamill here? Should the character remain Luke Starkiller?
No, absolutely not. The name Starkiller has the word killer in it. And I think it automatically, my brain thinks it's like an evil or negative type of character. Skywalker, there is something hopeful about it. There's something like, I wrote it down, adventure, like action, right? Walking, action, sky. It's a calming effect. I don't know. There's something magical about Skywalker. I cannot imagine Starkiller. Unless it's a beast.
Right. And we do know there's a wonderful character out there named Starkiller that people love. And I do as well. Love the first video game a lot.
That's right. That's right.
No, I'm with you too. It's just one of the things, like, it's hard to what if this because it's just such a part of our culture. It's just something we've all grown up with, Skywalker. But what I loved about this is it does kind of highlight that it's a great name for all the things you've talked about, but it's also a wonderfully silly name too. Princess Leia is different, but she's a princess. And then you got Han Solo, which is why one of the reasons I still personally love him getting his name in Solo Star Wars Story, because even as a kid, it's always like, oh, his name's Solo because he's alone. Oh, I see what you did there, George. And also have a guy skywalking. The hero is a Skywalker. Like, it is wonderfully silly. So in a way, Mark is highlighting this. That, you might have, the first time you heard it, you might have rolled your eyes, if podcasts were available in 1977, who knows what people would have said about this name. It's accepted now. It should be accepted now. I agree with you. It's a better name, at least for this character, but just funny. So there you go. Luke Skywalker on board.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I love that, like, Mark Hamill, anytime he's asked about Star Wars, he doesn't like roll his eyes, or his body language doesn't, like, he gets excited to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, because I was like, oh, the reporter was going all the way back to 1977. He's been talking about this since 1977. And yet he still has, like, joy when talking about it. That's why he is an incredible Star Wars ambassador.
Absolutely agree with that. And I love, he's been doing it for so long. We've only been doing this 11 years, like we said, 12 seasons coming up. But, we all start telling the same stories. I have the drunk Uncle Ken at a party telling the same story again because you forget where you said it. Mark Hamill's been saying some of the same things since 1977 in interviews, and I love it. I love when he brings out the greatest hits. And I told George, you could write this, but no one talks like that. Like, I love when he brings out the same stories.
Me too.
Love it. There you go. All right. Thank you, Uncle Mark. Now it's time for some Star Wars mini questions. We have fun with these. We clip these out. So like I said up top, if you see them out in the wild, interact with them, like them, repost them, share, and help get the word out about the silliness and the poignant stuff we do here at ForceCenter too. All right, first question. Jen, which Star Wars character should start a vlog?
Finn. 100%. I think Finn would be an amazing influencer. He's going to be funny. He could do anything from, like, cooking to showing his wherever his space. How do I decorate it? Going out on adventures with Rey, like a travel vlog. Like, honestly, he could do anything and he would just be watchable. And that's what it takes to be a good influencer. You have to have a personality. Yeah,
absolutely. I think he'd have an episode titled "No One Wants to Go Back to Jakku," or "Why Does Everyone Want to Go Back to Jakku?" I think Finn's a good answer. I thought long and hard. I almost went with R2-D2.
Oh.
Because he gets into a lot of mischief and trouble and adventures. But then I was like, but then, you'd have to have the subtitles on the screen all the time and, go into CapCut and translate R2. It might be a little more work for R2 than he wants. I went with Omega, Bad Batch's Omega,
Okay.
because she is just so... Omega is full of so much love for the world around her, but also so much of, Omega's learning about this world around her at the same time and coming into her own. And I think you'd get a lot of the same things that you're talking about with Finn, but with Omega doing a vlog, you'd get a lot of like, wow, look at this amazing thing. Look at this world. Look at this person. And she's just got that natural looks into the camera and shares her soul kind of vibe that I think is needed for a good vlog, that even someone like me struggles sometimes. As much as I love broadcasting, I just can't be as vulnerable in front of a camera. And I think Omega, with a little, guest appearance from Wrecker every episode with some of the food they love to eat, I think it'd be a great tour guide. Omega would be a great tour guide through the galaxy with a vlog.
Yeah, I could picture her out in nature showing how to survive. I don't know why. Or like, what is it? The van life, like that kind of vibe.
She'd be a van life vlogger. Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Where I'm like, wow, this is so entertaining and something I will never do. She's a person that could survive.
Yeah. This is Rekka. We're out here in the wilderness. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great answers there from you and mine. I'll give myself credit. There you go. I just oddly gave myself credit. All right, there we go.
Pat yourself on the back.
There you go. I'm trying to believe in myself a little bit better in these troubling times. All right, next question. Would you watch? All right. I guess I should do some context. This has been in my head for a little bit, Jen, because of a lot of things maybe that might be happening in Ahsoka season 2, or what is possible with technology, or just why not? Would you watch a live action Clone Wars era movie?
100%. And you know what I'm going to pitch. The Witches of Dathomir story arc live action. Yes. I mean, visually, the planet of Dathomir with all the red hues, I think that's going to be very cinematic. There's a lot of action. Mother Talzin, Asajj Ventress battling Dooku with Savage Opress, this monster. You also have Obi-Wan and Anakin who make an appearance and find themselves amongst the Night Brothers on Dathomir. That's exciting. Bring back Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor for this. I want to see this so bad. I've literally been talking about this for years.
I'm on board in a way that I didn't expect, even for myself. I love this idea in my head, the idea I'm pitching to myself here. But it was Ahsoka. And the world between world flashback-ish kind of scenes with Anakin, young Ahsoka, the clones, all the stuff that made me think you could do this on a larger scale. And with rumors abounding of who's coming back, and maybe Obi-Wan in clone armor, and we'll get Ewan doing that. This is also a way to bring Natalie Portman back as Padme. No disrespect, of course, to the wonderful voice actors that brought them to life in the Clone Wars. I just think there are stories to tell in this era, and you could do it with these performers. I know it might be a wash and a little bit of modern technology that people don't love, de-aging, that kind of stuff. I get it. But again, Ahsoka convinced me that this could work. And if you just took a deep dive into this era in a live action fashion, I think it'd be a big hit. And I side with you, Jen. I think your pitch wins the battle. You got the Dathomir, the witches. That can be the central part of the story. And then we can bring all the other characters in. So we got Go Picture, live action Clone Wars movie.
Oh, make it happen. Maybe we'll get something in Ahsoka season 2.
I think so. All right, that's it. We're out of here today. Little look at Star Wars news, having fun with it as best we can as we race towards eventually. I think we're going to start getting some real soon here, getting some big pieces of Star Wars news with casting and moving forward to some of these other projects. So we shall see what happens then. But for now, thanks for watching. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod, like we said up top. Check us out on TikTok if you like content over there. I said the C word. Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. We're available as a podcast in a lot of spots. Just search and find us. Don't forget, on Sundays on the podcast feed only, we rebroadcast Data Bank Brawl. We have merch available at TeePublic or at Fourth Wall, like we said up top. And you can support us directly at patreon.com/ForceCenter and get into our Discord there. You can follow me at Napzok. Check out my show, The Blathering Live, on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook live 3 times a week. We have a lot of fun over there. Shout out to producer Steve and the crew. Jen, where can I find and follow you?
You can find me on Instagram at Jennifer Landa, TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138, and anywhere pretty much. Same name.
Anywhere. We're around.
Anywhere.
Don't forget to check out Joseph Scripture at Joseph Scripture and get updates on his movie and where to eventually, hopefully, see it as he brings that project in for a landing. All right, that's it. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.